Hey, Shalom Markins of Karmak Pash from GMS London, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chakwadash. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, pushing this truth in all sincerity. Back again with another video, and I came across this article. You know, we got the Winter Olympics taking place currently, and I think this article was from a few days ago, right? And it's entitled 2026 Olympic Ceremony Sparks Outrage, right? Anger over Satanic Symbols, right? And this is from First Post, right? So there's coverage on this. Well, it's playing in the background, but yeah, you know, and it's similar to the last Olympics, you know, where they brought out all the Rainbow Coalition shit, you know, in the ceremony, and people were mad about that too, which it mentions that here. Right, but all that's really happening is that these ceremonies, these rituals, right, because that's what they are simply just satanic, right? They're revealing you what the true nature of these Olympics are, and you know these different types of ceremonies and rituals. They do all these different things, you know, whether it be a concert, you know, they always got the symbolisms there, you know, wherever they do, right? So you're seeing some of the imagery in the background there. You know, I haven't actually watched the ceremony, but maybe I'll watch it afterwards actually, just to see what was going on. But you know, obviously it's created backlash, as they're saying. But yeah, they're just revealing into what this, you know, what all these things are really about. They're all rituals. They're all just witchcraft, you know, being done. You know, and everyone just there, you know, claps and you know, celebrates it. Yeah, it's just one big ass ritual. You know. So let me read some of this. This is the 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy were meant to begin with celebration and spectacle, but the opening ceremony has instead triggered a storm of controversy. Social media users accused organizers of displaying satanic symbolism after a pentagram-like visual appeared during the show. This comes just 2 years after the Paris 2024 opening ceremony faced backlash for its religious parody. Are Olympic ceremonies drifting into unnecessary controversies? It's not drifting anywhere. It's always just been like this, like behind, you know, closed doors. But now they're putting out in the open more and more, showing you what these things are really about. Because all these Olympics are is based off idolatry, idol worship, right? You know, the Greeks, the Olympians, yeah, you know, it's all Greek idol worship, right? But they put it into a show for you. They name it the Olympics, and you know, everyone come and watch and pay your money and celebrate and do this and do that, participate. You know, train your whole life just to go run at some Olympics. You know what I'm saying? To be one of these, you know, the Greek gods. You know, and the whole time, you know, while they're there, they're getting freaky, man. You know, which is the other article that I had just to compliment this one, right? Right, because apparently, and it happens all the time, but you know, what do they say here? Yeah, this one, right? The Winter Olympics condoms replenished after stars snap up 10,000 rubbers in 3 days. The man have run out of condoms, man, because they're just all getting freaky. You know, it's just one big ass ritual, man. Okay, it's always been that. It's always been that, right? And so now it's just becoming more open because we're living in a more and more wicked world, right? The elites are, you know, getting closer and closer to their goals, so they feel comfortable letting more and more stuff out. You know, what they call externalization of the hierarchy. Right, that's what they're doing. You know, they're showing their true selves. Right? And for the most part, most people don't care. That's why they'll still turn up to the Olympics. You know, they got a whole bunch of PDF files in the Catholic Church. They'll still go to the church. A lot of these men just don't care. Like it's become normalized, right? You got a few people obviously that are mad, that are gonna write in and complain to the broadcast companies and you know, whoever, right? But most of them don't really care. They'll go next, you know, next Olympics if there is one, you know, that this place don't get destroyed first. You know, they'll go again. These men don't care. They're here to have a good time. Watch some men and women in fucking leotards, man, run around. Well, this is the Winter Olympics, isn't it? So it's pretty cold where they wearing the leotards and shit. You know, doing all the skiing and And the ice skate, actually, ice skating, they wear the leotard still in it. So yeah, still right. Right. But this is what's going on, man. It's just a sex ritual, amongst other things, what's going on. Pagan worship, idol worship, So that's what they're going to be doing. So let me just finish this off. We've got some scriptures, right? This world is just full of idol worship, man, and that's what the world should be understanding, man. Where was I now? Are these spectacles overshadowing the spirit of the sport? No, this is the spirit of the sport. This is where you people are confused. You people are ignorant, right? This is the spirit of the sport. What you thought it was, it isn't that. Okay, what they're showing you now is what it really was. So for some, yeah, maybe it's overshadowing the spirit of the sport because you didn't think it was about that, but it is really about that. Because you gotta remember these man, the origins of the Olympics, man, they used to do all this butt ass naked. Bro, it's just bare heathen. It's bare Greek. It's just bare homoerotic or whatever you want to fucking call this shit, man. Bare homo-isms, right? It was never about the spirit of the game, the competition, all this shit. Oh, bro, it was idol worship, bro, and freakism, right? That's what it's about, right? So, Rupa Ramani breaks down the outrage, the history of opening ceremony controversies, and explores if the opening ceremonies are setting the wrong tone for the event to follow. No, it's gonna get more demonic. It's gonna get more demonic because they want to show you what it's really about. Yeah, so who knows when the next one comes around 2 years time or whenever it is. I don't know, or whenever these Olympics come around next, and if they come around next, right? It's gonna get darker. Right? We see some fucked up shit, some fucked up ceremonies and introductions to things over these last few years, man. It's getting freaky and weird, right? And this is just gonna get more freaky and weird, right? It's gonna get more freaky and weird, man, because that's what it's about. What's this going in the background now? I'm gonna get the pentagram and the fire up there. Like, what? Anyway, right? I should have grabbed some scriptures, right? So. Like I said, this is all about idol worship, and this is what these people in this world participating in, and not just the Olympics, all these different types of things, and that these elites have set up for you to go to and pay your money to and celebrate and be a part of, right? It's all idol worship. It's all satanic. It's all satanic, right? Like I say, you could be your favorite fucking rapper, artist, or whatever, and they're still gonna have all that symbolism be there, But most people are just not privy. They don't understand what it is that they're watching. They just pretty lights or whatever, throwing up hand signs and shit. Like they don't understand what's going on. They're ignorant, right? But all this is to worship and promote their idols and to promote their sect, their religion, so to speak, right? That's what they're doing, and they're having you feed into that with all your energy and your money and all that kind of stuff, and just to in worship of their idols, man. Because the wicked, the elites of this world, they worship idols. Okay, because they're into witchcraft. Right? That's what it is. So let me read this from Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. Right, this is about the making of idols, or the origins of idols. Right, but I'm not going to start from the top. Right, you can read that if you want, but I just want to get a few points out of this. Right, so I'm going to start from verse 11. So therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men. All these things are stumbling blocks. Everyone thinks what they're doing is harmless fun, because they don't understand its origin. They don't understand why this even exists. Why does the Olympics exist? What is it with all these ceremonies? What is it with the lighting of the torch and all these? What is it? They don't know. They don't really know. Or if they think they know, they just think it's some harmless thing. Oh yeah, because of the Greek gods and this and that and whatever, right? Made the journey with the flame and it's they know it's some bullshit story, but they think it's just a story, not knowing that there's real real elements behind these things, right? The story's bullshit. Yeah, the idols are bullshit. Sure, of course they are. But you got guys, real guys, putting real energy into these false gods, right? I'm talking about blood sacrifice, and they're putting some real time and energy into these things, man, right? Because it's part of their witchcraft, right? And so their thing is to siphon your energy along with it, right? To get as many people as possible to be in the spirit, right, with their spirit, right, to feed their things, right, to feed their power and that shit, right. So there's some real things behind it, even if you think it's harmless. Oh, Halloween, yeah, we'll just do trick or treating. Like, but why? Why are they getting you to do trick or treating? Why do you want to do trick or treating? What's it all about? Oh, it's just harmless fun. No, it's not. Yeah, it might be harmless when you just going door to door taking candy and shit. Yeah, it might be just harmless fun on the surface, but there's real implications to things that you're doing, and you people don't understand. And this is what we're going to outline it, because people that are involved in these things, they're most likely going to destroy it ultimately, because you're an idiot, right? You're ignorant and idiot, and you're being told. So it's not like you can remain ignorant, because you are being told that these things are wicked and they're off, right? And the Lord's going to punish those, right? But you continue to do it anyway, because you just wave your hand at it, whatever, innit? We're just crazy dudes. Like, it can't be that deep. We're about to find out how deep it is, right? But anyway, this is because in the creature of God they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men and a snare to the feet of the unwise. These men are unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. Right? So these men are all corrupt that go after these things. Right? So neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. Right? So there's plenty of idols, plenty of false gods, right, that this world holds and people believe in. Right? But they're not going to be around forever. Because when the Most High brings the judgment in these last days, man, that's going to be it. Because the Lord's just going to settle it, make it plain to for everyone to see and know. Right? For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore they shall shortly come to an end. For a father inflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image to his son, of his son soon taken away, now honoured him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. So these rituals, these ceremonies, to honour this person. Right? And it's the same thing, it's the exact same thing with these other idols, stories of men, that supposedly did this or did that, and these people worship and venerate these men and put them up as gods. What Zeus and whoever, it doesn't matter who it is. Right? They told myths of these dudes, stories of these dudes, that these men never fucking existed, or it was just a plain ass man. You know what I mean? Just a regular dude. Right? But because of the stories and the myths built around these people, like they've elevated them to fucking godhood. Well, no, these men are not gods. And some things are just stories, right? That men told. All right, it says thus in process of time an ungodly custom grown. Olympics is just an ungodly custom. Right, it's grown over time. It's popular. Right, just like everything else that these people were involved in, it's become popular. So you just do it, and you don't think nothing of it. You just think this is just what we do. It's what we do. Right, not knowing the consequences of your actions or what you're actually participating in. Right, because Esau's made you feel like, it's just we're just having fun here. Come watch the games, support your nation or whatever. An ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, who men could not honour in presence because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king who they honoured, to the end that by this their forwardness might flatter him that was absent as if he were present. Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorance to more superstition, for he peradventure, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion. And that's just why you have bare carvings and idols everywhere that people have, and they made them look real pretty. And it's the same thing that like the Vatican Church, for instance, right? That place is so grand that it's, you know, it's like covered with gold and all these different types of things. Like the Pope, you know, dappered up, gold staffs and all kinds of shit, gilt underwear, gold gilded underwear, you know, all this shit, right? It's to appear, it's to look the part, it's to look more than what they are, right? And that's why we get on these other camps and clowns that, you know, they want to play, you know, want to look the part, right? They want to look greater than they are, you know, but they're not really. They're full of that's good shit, dead man's bones. You know, they're lacking substance. All right, they're not as great as they appear to be, right? So, you know, that's a thing, obviously, right? So an artificer will make it the most glorious looking ever, and everyone will marvel at it. Look how great! Whoa, that's it's got to be holy. Look how magnificent it looks. It's gold and everything. You know what I mean? You know, man, get gassed, right? Verse 20, and so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him now for a god, which a little before was but honoured, just a man, right? And this was an occasion to deceive the world, for men serving either calamity or tyranny, did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, so great plays called they peace, right? So like these people, like I said, they're ignorant, and they feel like what they do is not bad. Yet the world is so messed up, right? Because of people's actions, but people don't recognize the actions that they're doing, and you know they can't equate them to being bad, and they don't understand why you know they're getting effed up, you know, and why the Lord is going to bring judgment upon all these people. Because as far as they're concerned, we just live harmlessly, you know. We just went out and did this and did that, and you know, I love my family, you know, all this shit. But you've been participating in idol worship and wicked ceremonies. You know, that's what you've been doing. Where's your excuse? Oh, I didn't know. Well, you're being told. It's in the scriptures. You know, it's on you to do your due diligence, man. You know, to know what you're getting involved in. And then you got to say on top of that, you got the prophets and that, you know, when the Lord's telling you these things. But these people don't want to stop, because in their heart they're full of darkness. So they want to continue, you know, pleasing themselves, doing what they want to do, right? So for whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, use secret ceremonies, right? So the ceremony that you saw, or that people saw during the Olympics, that was the public ceremony, what they showed on the outside. But they best believe they're secret ceremonies. The elites do secret ceremonies, man, where they'd be doing child sacrifice and shit. Best believe that, right? That's what these things are. Like I said, they're just one big ass ritual setup to celebrate the games, right? They got one for the public, and even that's getting more demonic, obviously. But there's the true ceremony that goes on, right? And it might happen the same night. It might happen the night before. You know, whenever it happens, because they like to do the numerology shit anyway. So they you know, they do it whenever it lines up. You know. But that's what's going on. They'll have orgies and, you know, freakism and do whatever it is that they do. You know, that they do. Right, in the spirit of you know, the Olympics, or whatever God resides over the Olympics, you know, whatever. That's what they'll do. Right? So for whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites, they kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery. All right, and like I said, the whole thing with the athletes, it's like having bare sex and all that shit. That's all part of the ritual too. The orgies, you know, swapping women around, you know, all that shit. You know. So that they reigned in all men without exception, blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury. disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanliness, right? And that's what's going on there, man. Bare debauchery, right? For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves. Right? Let's see. Yeah, I must read on, right? So, insomuch as their trust is in idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt. Howbeit for both causes shall they be justly punished, right? Because they thought not well of God, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but it is the just vengeance of sinners that punisheth always the offense of the ungodly. All right, so all those that participate in it, man, the Most High has got it out for them, you know. And like I say, what you do in ignorance, man, like I say, it's gonna come to bite you in the arse at the end of the day, right? Because like I said, you're really supporting the elites doing what they're doing, and like, you know, their wickedness is on a higher level, man. You know. It's Nahum chapter 3 verse 4 says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, right? And that's, you know, beginning with America, but Esau just in, you know, in general, right? He's lived off witchcraft his whole life, right? Wickedness his whole life, bloodshed his whole life, right? But America, right? Because that's where we get all these customs from, right? You know, or you might say, oh yeah, you know, Athens and all this stuff. Yeah, but who really makes that big? Who really promotes it? Because it's got to be funded by somebody. The shit ain't free. Italy's broke. You know? And so it's going to come from, you know, powerful men in America, i.e. elites, right? That want the games to go on. You know, like all these games, Hunger Games, Squid Games. Right? They're paying for all this shit. These rich and powerful men. Right? So, yeah. You know, point stands, right? So, so that selleth nations through her whoredoms, right? You get everybody involved. You're all gonna sell out. You're gonna participate and do this. It's a great honor to come and do this, and you know, the big it up. You know what I mean? To get everybody in. So they selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts, right? So behold, I'm against thee, saith Lord of hosts, and I will discover the skirts upon thy face. I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Now, like I said, you know, Esau's bringing more and more of these demonic things out in the open, and people are like, what the fuck's going on, man? Or some of them at least, you know, and they started like thinking, what the fuck, man? Like I came in to watch some running or some ice skating or some shit, and what's all this? What's this demonic shit about? You know, like the France one, like why is there a bunch of drag queens and whatever, right, everywhere? You know, parading around in the Last Supper. What's that about? You know, so people were like, nah, man, they ain't feeling it. And, you know, you're just, you know, people are looking at you more like you're just a demon. Like, you man of demons, the guys are setting up, you know, this whole thing of demons, but you don't know how deep it really goes. That's why you're talking about, is it spoiling the spirit of the event? Bro, you don't know what the spirit of the event is, you know, is. Clearly, you don't know what it is. Because that's what it is. Right? You're mistaken. Right? You're mistaken to what to what that is. Right? But that is the spirit of the games, man. The whole bunch of fucking freaky shit. You know? But yeah, people are being turned off by it, man. You know? So the Lord's, you know, bringing about that nakedness, man, to show everybody that's what you're about. Right? It says, I will cast abominable filth upon thee and make thee vile and will set thee as a gazing stock. Right? So yeah, people are looking at you like sideways, like, damn, man, what the hell's going on there? You know? This is Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. So now the works of the flesh are manifest, right? The desires of the flesh, right? The elites are just putting out more and more in the open. You know? That's what they're doing. And like I said, you're participating in it, you know? And then you got all these fucking athletes fucking around and shit, like literally, you know? So now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, and lasciviousness, right? Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, right? That's what this sort of shit is, right? And such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. These men are not in the spirit of that. They're of a different spirit. All right? They're of a different spirit, man. The spirit of darkness, allied with the wicked. You know? But no, like that. Is Isaiah 47 verse 2. That's up the top. So come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit on the ground. There is no throne. Of daughter of the Chaldeans, thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the fire, pass over the rivers. Right. So like I said, the Most High is exposing really how ugly this underbelly is of Esau's kingdom. Right. But in due time, you know, the way Esau's looking at it, you ain't gonna have a choice anyway, man. You're gonna have to accept it because you're gonna have the mark of the beast soon. So you ain't gonna have a choice. And I can do all this shit in the open, and you know you ain't gonna say or do shit about it, right? That's the way that's the way he wants to get it to. No, he don't have to do it behind the scenes anymore. He can just be the devil in the open. But he's already desensitizing you to these things, right? That's why things are becoming more and more demonic and satanic. And people are just getting used to death everywhere. Adultery, all these things. That it's just become more commonplace, right? So you've become desensitized to it. That's why there's not that much outrage from people. I mean, there is outrage, obviously, but a lot of people don't care. Oh, it's just a show. Shut up, watch the show. See, people just want to fucking, freak off, man. Right? So thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Right? So yeah, the shame is coming out, man. Right? So Obadiah 1 verse 6 is, how are the things that Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? But the Most High is revealing it. Your ideologies, your witchcraft, it's all being revealed, man. Your plans, the Lord's bringing it all out. Right? This Habakkuk 2 verse 15 says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him and makest him drunken, also that thou mayest look upon their nakedness. Right? So like I said, he's getting everybody involved, man. Everybody is a participant. It's getting athletes from all around the world to come to the games. This is a great honor, right? Participate in these rituals, and then obviously you got the fans, come fly all over the world, come to watch the games and spend their money and, prop up their organization, participate in the ceremonies and, all that shit. But you're just feeding evil. You're just feeding wickedness, the evil agendas of these elites. Right? So you're all complicit. You're all complicit. Right? So that's it. Esau's gone around and gave everybody that bottle of drink. Come join. Drink and be merry. Come join me. Yeah, come join me. Epstein's Island. Come join me. Have a whale of a time. Yeah, just come. That's what it is. But obviously, he's doing it on a global scale, right? And he's made a big, show of it, right? And so it seems innocent. It seems like it's just entertainment or whatever. But that's the equivalent of what he's done. He's contacted you basically. Look, you should be a part of this. Yeah, come watch this, and be involved. Be involved in what I am doing. Praise my gods, worship my gods, be there for them. And everyone was like, okay. Okay, yeah, I'll come. It'll be a blast. It'll be a blast. People go and they participate, right? So woe unto them that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that they may look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. So that's why people are speaking out and pointing out all these things that you're doing. All this weird shit. Like, what's this about? Why is it so satanic? Why is it so demonic? It's always been that. It's always been that. Right? You just didn't know. Right? But it's being put out there now. Right? So I'm going to end it with this. This is just a quick one, really. Right? Just to say this point. Actually, let me read from 2. So, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, right? All these are heathenistic customs, right? What they got to do with the scriptures and righteousness? Nothing, right? Some heathenistic custom, idol worship, right? Verse 3 says, for the customs of the people are vain. All these customs that exist, these traditions that we have in this world, it's all vain and all based around idol worship. That's what it is. And it's vain, right? People just don't understand how bad, like I said, how bad it really is, or what it's all really about, and how the Lord looks at all of this. Because like I said, the Lord's going to bring judgment for these fools. Right? What you thought was harmless fun, just you worshiping idols, man, which is a big no. Right, so all these customs that we're used to, we're gonna celebrate Easter. What's that? A few weeks time, or a couple weeks time, or whatever, right? Yeah, we're gonna do Easter. We're gonna do Christmas. We're gonna do all the Valentine's Day things and all this and that. We're gonna go the World Cup and Olympics and whatever. Like all these concerts, all these shows. You're gonna just do that because that's what we do. Like, that's what human race does. You just go and revel in these different types of things and not really think about what it is that you're doing. All the meanwhile, your participation is helping Esau fulfill his witchcraft, do more of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's your role in it. So you're not innocent, right? So again, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, and this is specifically talking about Christmas, or what we now know to be as Christmas. It used to be called Christmas back then, But now because they packaged it in around like, oh yeah, it's about Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Now it's Christmas. But no, it was a pagan Babylonian holiday. Or unholy day, right? That's where it comes from. Got nothing to do with who you call Jesus Christ. It has nothing to do with them all. Right? Here is the origins of that custom. A vain custom. Right? For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails with hammers that it not move. Right? That's what we do at the end of the year. Or this year, in December. And then we'll get all these trees up and then put all tinsel and decorations and baubles and stars and angels or whatever they want to put on it. Right? And put presents under the tree. That's a custom dating back to Babylon. It's not nothing to do with scriptures. It's got nothing to do with who you call Jesus Christ. But these people do it anyway. Because they're just fools. Oh, it's just a bit harmless fun. It doesn't matter. Okay, find out if it doesn't matter, innit? But yeah, that's what I got for this one anyway. I say things are getting more freaky out here, man, and it's just being displayed, put on display more, right? Because it's the true representation of these things that's coming out. It was just more hidden before, and people were outraged because it's not what they thought it was, but that's what it is. It's always been that. It's always been satanic. Okay, just nothing but a big ritual. All right, so Satan worshippers. All right, so I'm going to end it there. Lord willing, it's been edifying, and I'll catch you guys. This is on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.